Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we now open the floor for public comments on agenda items this evening. It's exciting to see we have like standing room only in the meeting itself. So if anyone that's joining us in person has a public comment, feel free to make that now. And if you're joining us virtually, feel free to type that into the chat box and we will read it into the meeting. I'm not seeing any public comments. Okay, so moving on, the first item we have this evening is appointing a board member to fill the vacancy created by the resignation for Margaret Kwan. So we're going to take action on this item. It is recommended that the Diamond Lake School District 76 Board of Education appoint David Becker to fill the vacancy of the Board of Education created by the resignation of Margaret Kwan, this position expiring May 1st, 2023. May I have a motion to approve, please?
I'll second. Ms. Sullivan? Yes. Ms. Bayless? Yes. Ms. Angarola? Ms. Hale?
Yes.
Mr. Hauptman?
Yes.
Mr. Candela?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Becker, if you could stand up, we're going to, I'll walk towards you so I'm not screaming across the room. And we're going to take the oath. If you I state your name. Okay, and we will now move on to presentations.
All right, we have several recognitions, celebrations, and show appreciation recognitions tonight. 4 of them are our Diamond Awards. And for those of you in our audience that may be new to this, a Diamond Award is earned a staff member or an administrator nominates an educator in our district for going above and beyond the call of duty, whether it's something with teaching and learning, innovation, technology, or community service. So we have 4 staff members being recognized by their colleagues and administrators tonight. And I'm going to call up our first one would be Mrs. Patty Rudd, who has nominated 2 staff members. And I'm going to let Mrs. Rudd go first. And then at the same time, just so you know, Mrs. Rudd put in for this to nominate these 2 staff members. And our district leadership team also echoes the feelings for this Diamond Award. So it's kind of, they get 1 Diamond Award, but they're being nominated by not only the district leadership team, but also Mrs. Rudd. So I'm going to let Mrs. Rudd go first.
The first award I nominated was for our social worker at the middle school, Lindsay Harmon. Lindsay Harmon has been a social worker at West Oak Middle School for 7 years. In that time, Lindsay has provided social work services to numerous students, served on several committees, included MTSS, BLT, PBIS, SEL, the SPED Task Force, the Sparkle Squad, and a few I'm sure I've forgotten. Lindsay also is instrumental in organizing and distributing food, personal items, and gifts for families in need at the holidays. Lindsay is also a dedicated employee who has had perfect attendance several school years. She is a wonderful team member who contributes to our team with her experience and knowledge of special education. This alone is enough for Lindsay to receive recognition. However, this year, Lindsay has the added responsibility of mentoring a social work intern, Mr. Carr. Lindsay has also taken on the West Oak Intermediate School social work caseload in the absence of a social worker. Lindsay is seen as a leader in our building that teachers are comfortable approaching for both student needs and sometimes their own personal needs. I'm honored to call Lindsay my coworker and friend and feel she is most deserving of this award. Sorry.
And Dr. Olson, would you like to present Lindsay on behalf of the district leadership team a second nomination?
All right. So not only I echo and the team echoes what Ms. Rudd said, but also when we think of Ms. Harmon, I think of her and we think of her as one of the most dedicated, caring, patient, kind, and loving professionals that we work with on a regular basis. Her calmness will just make a room that is so contained with energy just calm when she approaches because she's got that demeanor to her. And we have seen that she continues to bring that here, not only at West Oak Middle School, but also at the intermediate side. And she has not hesitated in stepping up to really meet the needs of our students here, our staff needs, as well as West Oak, and then also supporting Mr. Carr and really teaching him how to be an amazing, dedicated social worker. We look at her and she will come to us with brainstorming of ideas, thinking of different ways that we can problem solve situations, and also how can we do this to make sure that our students' needs are met. And it is one of the most amazing things to witness as well as be a part of. And we truly appreciate everything she has done for our community, for our staff, for our students, and our overall district. And I'm so thankful and love working with you every day. So thank you, Ms. Harmon.
Would you like to say a few words? You don't have to. Okay. Thank you. All right. Our second award.
You have to do it again.
Mrs. Rudd, would you do the honors for Mr. Carr, please?
I sure will. Will Carr started his career in education 2 years ago at West Oak Middle School when he was hired as a learning associate during the pandemic. Mr. Carr jumped in feet first. He immediately showed his professionalism and ability to connect with students. Mr. Carr came to work each day in person in a functional classroom. From playing guitar with students to sledding down the hill with them, Will embraced working with functional students. Will worked summer school, both the 2021 and 2022 summers, The summer of 22, he worked at DLS with pre-K students, where again, he did an outstanding job. Mr. Carr made the decision to start his master's degree in social work, and this year is an intern with Ms. Harmon. On the first day of school, I observed Will several times assisting students at their lockers with their schedules or just supporting sixth graders as they navigated a new building. Mr. Carr and Ms. Harmon have been asked to take on the caseload of the intermediate school as their social worker is out. Will has willingly accepted the challenge. Will has made himself a full member of our Wolfpack. He's coaching the boys' soccer team, coached cross country, has worked the game clock, and volunteered at PTO events. Will is always available to see students, support teachers, and add his advice to a situation. I'm proud to nominate Will for this award. Diamond Lake School District is so fortunate to have him in our district. And on a personal note, I've known Will Carr for 10 to 15 years. He went to school with my son. And so I'm personally so proud of what he's become and who the young man he's grown into. So congratulations, Will.
Well, our brains must have been mixing because a lot of what she just said, is what I wrote. So I said that we are so lucky to have Mr. Carr join us, not only as a learning associate, but now as a social work intern. And I've been able to witness his interactions with students, not only in the classrooms, but outside, just like Ms. Rudd also said. And he has jumped right in without hesitation. While we've hit a lot of different bumps and different ways that we've been navigating this school year with different social needs, emotional needs, and it's been amazing to see how he's been able to really navigate that easily and with the support of Ms. Harmon, but also really taking that lead and ownership of, I got this, I can do this, let's go. And it's amazing. It's amazing to see how he has been impacting our students, and it's been amazing to see how our students have been so positively responding to him. I've seen him in the middle of crisis situations with students and being able to de-escalate a student who is really having a hard time. So Will, we are so lucky to have you here, and we really appreciate everything that you've done for the entire district, and thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to everybody that's I felt welcomed with open arms to this district, and it's the best thing that could have happened to me coming out of college. So thank you.
Mrs. Wagner, would you like to come up and recognize your nominee? I nominated Marina Gutierrez. The words outstanding work ethic can be thrown around a lot in the workplace. They can describe a myriad of employees. However, when I think of those words, I think of someone who is always willing to help beyond what is in their job description or what is expected of them.
Child educator and humanitarian, Mr. Rogers was quoted as saying, "Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping." Marina is the epitome of a helper. She goes above and beyond, not only supporting her colleagues and administrative responsibilities, but she is willing to help everyone. And when I say everyone, I mean teachers, administrators, learning associates, families, but most importantly, the children. When the students see her in the office, they light up. She greets them and engages them, and they genuinely feel connected to her. My fellow teachers know they can email her with any question and they will get the prompt and courteous response. In this community, so many people seek her out. They know she will be caring, respectful, patient, but most importantly, helpful. Marina is who we all want to be around. She has a positive spirit, a smile on her face, and kindness in her heart. She genuinely wants what's best for us all and often puts her own needs aside to assist others. Marina represents all things the Diamond Award stands for: excellence in the workplace, but also excellence in being a true role model in the Diamond Lake community. It is with great privilege that I nominate Marina Gutierrez.
Thank you, Marina.
Thank you.
All right, and I think we have a few members of our second grade team that would like to come on up.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Ostrander. I'm second grade dual language.
I'm Rachel Johnson. I'm also second grade dual language.
We have 3 other teammates. One of them is being nominated today. So we nominate and appreciate Tiana Chabelle for a Diamond Award because she adds so much to our team. She is always on top of her game. She leads our team with excellence and humility and gives opportunities for each of us to sparkle and improve our own leadership skills. During team meetings, she uses our time effectively and promotes efficiency, which we value a lot, all while having fun. She allocates time for both gen ed teachers and dual teachers to talk over data and other curriculum needs and observations. She comes prepared, clearly communicates priorities, and allocates time appropriately. We look forward to our team meetings. Additionally, Tiana is great at anticipating events and needs. For example, the dual language teachers were recently trying to find a way to use a shared reading resources that we just got this year. Since we only have 2 copies of the books to share between 5 teachers, we had to get creative. Tiana bent over backwards, even offering to change her own schedule and her own shared reading time to make sure that the dual language teachers had access to these resources, which is truly going above and beyond. She really didn't have to do this for us, but she did. Also, if she finds helpful resources or has additional insight, she is quick to share. For example, Tiana has very clearly laid out plans for us. So she has plans that not only help her, but really help out the rest of the team. And she goes above and beyond to share them with us, with links to helpful resources as well. Most of our team uses these plans because they are so helpful and easy to use. She helps create a welcoming environment for all staff, parents, and students. Humility is one of Tiana's strengths as a team lead, colleague, and teacher. While she is an efficient and well-prepared teacher, she does not pretend to have it all figured out. She's a learner and has a fantastic growth mindset. She gives everyone that same opportunity to learn and grow. Talking, planning, or meeting with Tiana Chabelle encourages us and makes us feel empowered as teachers. As her colleagues, we all benefit from this outlook and characteristic. We appreciate having her as part of our team.
Would you like to say a few words?
No, just
Okay.
I work with a wonderful team and thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right, so that concludes our Diamond Award celebration, but we have 3 other staff members that we'd like to just recognize and show our appreciation to. So in your packet, board members, there is a letter that came from the Professional Development Director of Accelerate. And Accelerate is recognizing our early childhood teachers who are here this evening. But as you can see from the letter, and I'll just read it for the audience, that Diamond Lake School continues to meet the eligibility requirements for the Accelerate Illinois Gold Circle of Quality and demonstrates our school's commitment to providing quality early childhood education to the children in our district. Accelerate Illinois is our state's quality rating and improvement system for early learning and development of programs. So we continue to get the Gold Circle of Quality in our early childhood program, and I would like to congratulate and recognize Mrs. Diana Wegner and Mrs. Ami Malador, who are here this evening, because you are the true leaders of our early childhood program. You were instrumental in changing it to a blended program this year so we can include more kids and have it be a more equal, fair, and inclusive process. So I just want to thank you so much for your dedication, your commitment, your leadership, and your loyalty, not only to our district, but moreover to our students, our staff, and our entire community. Because what you do by bringing in those little babies allows us to keep them and for 10 plus years and watch them grow. So thank you for that excellent start to their learning. So come on up. We've got just a small token of our appreciation. Sure. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Congratulations. I thank the board for your program. You are appreciated too. Thank you. Right, and our next recognition for the evening is our very own community liaison, Daisy Carrera. This month was celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, and last week they were doing a recognition of just people and resources that serve our Hispanic community and go above and beyond to just provide our families with the support and the knowledge and the resources and the systems in place to just for whatever needs that they have. And as you can see on the second page of your attachment, some of the Latinos that were highlighted, our very own Daisy Carrera, and she was surprised on Thursday with this recognition. So I just wanted all of you to know that she's not only representing our district, but our entire community, and she's doing so at a countywide level and a statewide level. And we're just so proud of her. We're proud of all that she does, how she's transitioned and transformed this program. Really, Daisy, my hat's off to you. I'm so proud of you and everything that you've done. You've represented all of us and our families so well. And we just wanted you to know how much we appreciate you. So congratulations. You have the same shirt on too. Thank you. Would you like to say anything, Daisy? No. All right. Thank you. All right, now that takes us to our presentation for this evening. So may I ask Mr. Hanson to please present that? No problem. So I did share with the board a few weeks ago that District 76 applied for with our surveys and then received our Great Places to Work recognition. I shared this, it was a big surprise with our staff about 2 weeks ago, but we wanted to make it public and share it with all of you. And what does that mean? That we're a great place to work. And this is at a national recognition level. Next slide, please. There you go. So here's what District 76 says and what our results say. So out of all of the companies that apply for or take this survey, that we are in the 99th percentile compared to 57% of the employees at a typical US-based company, which we think is pretty amazing. All of the statements that our staff, and we had almost 100% of our staff take this, that was our certified staff as well as our non-certified staff and all of our support staff in our buildings, that they achieved 94% on all the average ratings of the statements. And those statements, as the next slide will show you where we are at. So as you can see, we're at 95% or better on the majority of the statements that we have. There are some areas, obviously, that we look at and we said, okay, so we've got some equity, impartiality, and fairness. Well, a lot of those have to do with rates of pay and promotion, internal promotions. And as you know, that we're on a contract, so we don't get paid for bonuses, you know, in this environment, or you don't get raises based on something that you've achieved or something that you've earned. It's, you know, based on that union contracts. So some of those questions that people were responding to, either we're getting a no or a not applicable. So that's where we got kind of the, I don't want to say lower ratings, but that's why our ratings aren't as high in those areas. But as you can see, personal job satisfaction, 99%. We've been caring and engaging and hospitable, the camaraderie, our image, the support, all of these things just are such a high level of engagement and achievement from our staff. So we're really so proud that our staff feel so welcome and so proud of working here. The next slide is all of our top statements. So as you can see, this is what our staff scored 99% in. People care about each other here. Taking everything into account, they would say this is a great place to work. They feel good about the way that our district and each other contribute to our community, and actually see that with Casey being recognized today, as well as Diana and Ami with their contribution to early childhood. My work has special meaning. This is not just a job. And as you all know, because the board was such an integral part of supporting this and helping us maintain the funding for this, updating and upgrading our facilities, it's a positive and good work environment. So they feel like there's facilities support that. And then lastly, as you know, we updated our new professional development space over at Diamond Lake, and the staff voted the new name for it is the Sparkle Center. So we will be hoping once this technology is all installed there, that's where our board meetings will be. And we shared that with the PTO today, that hopefully as soon as the technology is all up and ready to go, that they can have their PTO meetings there too. So we'll open it up to the community and do some more parent education things, and our BPAC will be meeting there. So it'll just be a great place to share with our community, and we're proud of it. I know Dr. Berger has had some of her team meetings there because it's right there at Diamond Lake, and it's just a great showcase. And I know some of the board members at our last meeting had a chance to see it. So it's just going to continue to sparkle because we're going to do some last minute things to like put some wall art up, as well as, like I said, the technology. So just a lot of things to be proud of. It's a great meeting, as you saw, Diamond Awards, staff recognition, and then to be a great place to work. Just couldn't be more honored and humbled to be here. So thank you, board, for your support and leadership with that. And that's all for our presentations. Great meeting to start at, huh, Mr. Becker?
Yeah, exactly. It is a great meeting to start at. Congratulations to everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, we will now move on to our business agenda this evening. We have 3 items up for action. The first item is the omnibus vote agenda. Items under the omnibus vote agenda are considered routine and are not controversial and will be approved by one motion. If anyone, board member, staff, administrator, or citizen wishes to have a separate vote on any item or items, that item or items will be pulled from the omnibus vote agenda and voted on separately. Be it resolved that the Diamond Lake 76 Board of Education accepts and approves the omnibus vote agenda items A through D as listed. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Yes.
Yes. That motion is approved. Our next item up for action is personnel. Be it resolved, the Diamond Lake 76 Board of Education accepts and approves the personnel items as depicted on the agenda. We have 2 leaves of absence and we have 1 new hire. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Ms. Sullivan? Mr. Casella?
Yes.
Ms. Angarola? Ms. Bayless? Yes. Mr. Becker? Ms. Hale?
Yes.
Mr. Houghton?
That motion is also approved. Our next item up is adopting the TRS Supplemental Savings Plan, SSP. Do we need to read that longer resolution or just the PDF?
I don't think so, because it says as presented, so it's fine, it's in the packet.
Okay. Eric, I don't know if you did you want to say anything about that?
Yeah, just quickly, this is a requirement from TRS. It's kind of their new great idea to help people save. But, you know, in the end, the district already offers a 403B and a 457B plan. Also, we all offer a Roth option for each of those. So it's not a necessity for our district. TRS is requiring new members as of January 1st to automatically contribute to these plans. So members can still opt out, but it's you know, it's kind of a forceful way to make people save when we do offer alternative options. So we'll inform new staff members as they come in and say, you know, you have this option for TRS, you have this option internally, but in the end, it's just an alternate savings plan for people on top of their pension.
Okay, great. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, then be it resolved, the Diamond Lake District 76 Board of Education accepts and approves the resolution to adopt the TRS Supplemental Savings Plan as presented. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Becker? Ms. Sullivan? Ms. Angarola? Ms. Bayless? Yes. Ms. Hale?
Yes.
Mr. Houghton? Mr. Casella?
Okay, that motion is also approved. That wraps up our business agenda. Moving on to board discussion. For board discussion this evening, we have the IASB delegate meeting and the resolutions committee report. My thoughts are that we would start discussion of this evening, and then we can vote at the first meeting in November. There's only 8 resolutions total to look at. First, 2 things. One, they only sent print versions of this to me and to Bhavna, so everyone else should have a PDF version. I know it's long, although it's actually a lot shorter than it was last year. So there's that. But before we do that, I wanted to kind of get everyone thinking about, we do need someone to go and be our delegate at that meeting. It is on the Saturday of the Triple I conference. So it's Saturday, November 19th at 10:30 a.m. So it does not conflict with the board presentation I know John and Bhavna are working on. So I didn't know if you guys wanted to decide on that tonight, or if you wanted to think about that and we can decide on that at the first November meeting. But I just thought I would put it out there. Just to you need to register in advance. And then when you go to Triple I, you basically pick up the information at like a separate window, and they give you it's like a name badge that you have to wear. Essentially, you would just take what we voted on as a board to vote at the meeting. And it's about 2 hours long. Sometimes it goes a little bit longer. It depends on the discussion. It might be shorter this year, although they have constitutional amendments that they're making. So their board essentially does business, and then the delegate assembly votes. So that's the way the meeting is structured. So I didn't know if people wanted to indicate their interest tonight, or if we want to choose at the next meeting. Anyone have any thoughts? No, I'm not attending, so I cannot do it. Okay. Anyone else interested, or do we want to pass the torch to Nikki? Well, fantastic. I mean, I think that's great, because the more involved you are, I think the better represented the board will be. So we appreciate that. Nikki, you just need to, on the IASB website, there's just a a link to click on to register as a delegate. So you just need to do that in advance. And then, like I said, when you go to check in, there's like a separate check-in area for delegates, and you just do that to make sure that you have the badge. But other than that, it's John is shaking his head no. I think everyone else is like, if you want to do it, that's awesome. We think you do a great job representing us. So thank you for volunteering. Okay. Let's just get started. Maybe we'll get through aim to get through at least the first 3 resolutions tonight. Okay, so the first resolution is the financing public education, which is the fund balances. So the resolution says, be it resolved, the Illinois Association of School Boards shall request that the Illinois legislature consider legislation barring claims for excessive accumulations when a school district's Miller ratio of amounts available to average annual expenditures is less than 3.0. There's, kind of a lengthy rationale, but essentially the district's rationale that proposes said current Illinois law allows for Illinois taxpayers to file suit for an excessive accumulation when the fund balance of a school fund account exceeds the fund's average annual expenditures from the previous 3 fiscal years. That's known as the Miller ratio. They say, well, we recognize the need to ensure responsible taxation and limit of excess fund balance. We also believe that the current permissible Miller ratio of only 2.0 in effect has the potential to have detrimental impact on school district finance. School districts are often required to base year-to-year budgets on long-term financial projections and forecasts. And in order to provide for long-term fiscal stability, many school districts elect to budget conservatively, given that the potential for fluctuation of revenues and expenses that's inherent with long-term financial projections. So basically, it sounds like they're proposing this to allow districts to have more flexibility. And the committee agrees with the information provided by the district and recommends to adopt. Their analysis was that testimony indicating that is similar to the statutory level of 2.5 annual expenditures that townships sought to lessen future fund balance taxpayer objections. School districts may be in a better position if they work to enact a level up to 3.0 established by case law. And they cite some Supreme Court cases, and they say currently no statutory provisions specifically encourage taxpayers to seek objection to excessive school district fund balances. Illinois law does not establish maximum or minimum fund balances. And that's kind of information. I don't know, Mr. Rogers, if you had any opinion there.
No.
You look super excited.
Yeah, like what you said there, it just gives districts more flexibility and less chance of getting a fund balance objection.
Yeah. So, to me, the rationale made sense, and it also sounded like it would be beneficial for longer term planning, especially projects that require multi-year financing. Yeah, inflation. Yeah. Okay. So that, I'm just going to take notes. It does sound like, for the most part, we're in support of that. Okay, the next one is alternative fueled school bus funding, which I think we saw something similar to this last year, which is coming from Naperville. Be it resolved that the Illinois Association of School Boards shall urge the state and federal governments to provide funding to school districts for transitioning to zero emission school buses or low emission school buses when a district can demonstrate that zero emission buses are not practical, and for green charging infrastructure in order to reduce school children's exposure to harmful pollutants from diesel emissions. There's some pretty long funding there. Essentially, they're talking about, transportation funding is a key priority, as nearly 1 million children take school buses to school every day. And then they talk about the health concerns from being exposed to diesel emission. The resolution committee recommends do not adopt. They say they understand and agree with many of the points, but they're concerned that the current transportation reimbursement formula does not fully support the reimbursement costs and question how the funds would be found or diverted to fund a program. They recognize that financial support for this endeavor would mean funding not only the cost of new buses, but also the cost of charging infrastructure. And consideration was given regarding the challenges of rural and urban settings, giving notice that analysis would be needed to ensure that the funds were sufficient to support all types of school district needs. So that that was recommended, do not adopt. All the resolutions that are recommended, do not adopt, do not show up on the ballot unless they're opposed, or I'm sorry, appealed. So likely that won't come for a vote. I don't know. Yes. And then they have to get like, is it 2/3 vote? Yeah. I thought we could just vote on them in November. We can vote right now. Doesn't matter. As I'm looking at the resolution procedures, which are on page 7 of that packet, it talks about any active member, association, division, association boards that submitted a proposal that received a negative recommendation has the right to appeal. At the annual meeting delegate assembly, notice of appeal must be submitted in writing. Committee must be in receipt of written appeal no later than the close of 8 business calendar days. That doesn't make any sense. Before the annual meeting of the delegate assembly. It's well, I'm sorry, close it. No, I read it wrong. It says then the close of business 8 calendar days before the annual meeting. A majority of delegates present and voted is required for consideration. So they will vote on that if the district filed the appeal. I'm assuming if it's on this list, they did file the appeal. And that if it gets a majority, then it'll be up for a vote. So, no? Okay. So I guess I guess it's just included anyway, because it's a resolution, but it has the potential to amend what I said before. It has the potential to be up for vote there. If they decide to appeal it. So does anyone have any thoughts about the alternative fueled school bus funding? Yeah, they lose sight of the purpose of the lobby, that it's for lobbying. Yeah.
Well, and then the other part of the rationale is that it might not be practical for some places to have zero emission buses, but the resolution itself identifies if it's not practical,
right?
Then it would revert to lower emission rather than zero emission. So the rationale seems not rational.
No, they don't seem to actually match up to the wording of the resolution. Right. It tends to be what they think the resolution is saying or what they think the end goal is. No, it's this resolution is really straightforward, and I think as opposed to the previous resolutions that we've seen on the I think they were more targeted on electric buses rather than this is like a multi-dimensional one. To me, this is very straightforward, and why wouldn't you support that?
So I would.
Well, we're taking a straw poll. Does anyone feel differently? We'll officially vote at the next meeting, but I'm just going to take notes. Okay. Okay, then I'm going to move on. The next one is the one that was submitted by District 120, which is the firearm dealer location. The resolution states that the Illinois Association of School Boards shall support and advocate to expand and amend legislation of existing public safety firearm dealer license certification act to increase the distance a gun store or any retail facility selling firearms and or ammunition may be located in relation to a school, preschool, or daycare facility from 500 feet to 1,500 feet. I think, you know, we kind of went over the district's rationale before. I think all of us, and I don't want to speak for you, Mr. Becker, but previously all of us were definitely in support of this. So I think we would be in support of the resolution as well. And I believe none of us agreed with any of their rationale, because the rationale that they provided, or the resolutions committee, is about gun advertisements in the class. It really has nothing to do with what the statement of the resolution says.
Side issue.
That like didn't even come up. Like it must have been something that was discussed after.
Yes. No, it's defined under this act.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think that was. For exemption. I think that was the thing, and that's.
It doesn't matter. That's not what we're, right. It seems.
Process.
Every single member of this.
I was going to say that I think, Nikki, that they will have a webinar for delegates prior to the meeting. They usually do it like in early November. When they did that last year, they actually talked about more rationale and gave more insight into this. So that might be useful in just listening to see if they're going to say anything different. I just remember last year, a lot of what they said did not match up at all to the booklet, but it also kind of gave insight into the way that they discuss things. And it was very clear that the majority of the people on the resolutions committee like felt very strongly a certain way politically. And that was, to me, at least, that was coloring what they decided on every resolution. So yeah. Okay. That is the first three. Do we want to go through some of the amendments? I mean, it's pretty early tonight. We don't have closed session, so we do not have closed session this evening. So I would vote we go through at least two more. Okay, so then amending the existing positions. The first one is financing public education, and it's capital grant fund for school buildings. And it was submitted by Glen Ellyn and Mercer County. And basically it looks like they're adding the underlying language. So it talks about allocating school construction grant funds every year, providing a capital grant fund to address shortage of classroom space due to population growth and repair and maintenance needs of aging buildings. And then under the grant program, they talk about funding should be dispersed to school districts based on criteria of 1, a district's percent of fully funded number based on the evidence-based funding model, and 2, a district's borrowing capacity, 3, a district's EAV per pupil, and 4, the age of existing facilities, not to include sports facilities. The district rationale is that state law requires ISB and the Capital Development Board to file a comprehensive assessment report of the capital needs of all school districts to the General Assembly every 2 years. Findings from 2020 indicate that 250 responding districts needed a combined $6.9 billion, averaging nearly $27.5 million per district for construction needs for new buildings, additions, and general repair. These findings indicate widespread capital improvement needs throughout Illinois. This resolution meets 2 of IASB advocacy core values. It supports and protects adequate and equitable funding necessary to provide all students with access to an excellent public education, and supports the association's commitment to educational equity for every student. Providing state funds for capital projects would help growing districts meet the space needs of their expanding populations, and it would help older established districts replace or maintain their aging buildings for safety and well-being of their students and staff. The resolutions committee agreed. They recommend to adopt, and it looks like they had similar resolutions. So this to me, I mean, I think as a district that went through a referendum process and had very aging facilities and facilities that we really needed to do a lot of work on. And we were in a position where we recognized that we don't want to increase the taxes for our taxpayers, but at the same time, we need to be able to provide a safe environment for our students to learn and our staff to work in. To me, this makes sense. You know, not every district is going to have to be fortunate as we were to be able to, you know, have that money through referendum and not have to raise taxes. And, you know, a lot of districts will be at the mercy of kind of their tax base. And, you know, and understandably, you know, nobody wants to pay more in income taxes, but at the same time, you know, if you have older facilities, you know, you have to have a roof, you have to have running water. So to me, the funding makes sense. I don't know if anyone else has any other opinions. Yes. Yeah. Lead. Yeah. Okay, it sounds like we're in support of that one. Okay, this is the school safety fund, which is the next one, also falling under financing public education. They're adding, and this comes from Grays Lake and Lake Forest. The ISB shall advocate for creation and funding of school safety grant program at the federal and state level that would assist school districts to support all costs of the comprehensive school security enhancements, including but not limited to cameras, technology, infrastructure, security personnel, staff training, and maintenance. Priority in the distribution of grants shall be based on both geography, school districts with lengthy response times for first responders, and financial need. Tier 1 and Tier 2 districts based on evidence-based funding model in that order would receive priority in the awarding of grants. In addition to grant funding, ISB shall support the establishment of state and federal resources to assist in establishing best practices, implementation, and monitoring for continued improvements to further enhance safety policies and procedures to increase school safety. Sorry, just typo there. So, you know, basically they're adding essentially federal funding, and then they're enumerating out the type of cost and security enhancements that would be included, and then prioritizing the way that the distribution of grants would occur. Obviously, in the district rationale, they're talking about gun violence in schools. I think we're all more than well aware of that. We've obviously made a number of safety upgrades to our buildings. And I think as a board, we all would support, you know, making sure that every district has the ability to make those changes to protect their kids. Does anyone else have any other comments? I know. Yes. Yes. Yeah, I was going to say the wording regarding geography and the lengthy response times, I'm sure, is what. That is pretty much how they seem to operate the last few years. Right. There's no consistency. No. Yeah. I mean, I think that's our number one priority. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Agreed. Okay. We have 3 left. You want to power through? They're short. Okay. Next one's legislative activity. Indian Prairie is the one who put forward this position. They're basically striking candidate and replacing that with legislation position. The IASB shall actively encourage and assist school board members to effectively evaluate legislative positions relative to public education as they affect the principles of school management to ensure the best education for public school students in Illinois. Their rationale is just that as elected trustees, the school board and their individual members should be actively participating in the legislative process as it relates to school board operations and public education. IASB should encourage this involvement. It falls in line with their belief statements. IASB should not be involved in evaluating individual candidates. And this amendment is based on the principle of nonpartisanship. They recommend and do not adopt for this, which I find very funny. It is very in line with everything else that they've done. To me, this makes a lot of sense, as opposed to because school boards are nonpartisan. We have very clear mission and goals, and frankly, IASB does as well, that unite all boards regardless of anyone's own political beliefs. I mean, this to me should be clear cut. Why wouldn't you support this? So what do people think? We would support that if that was appealed. Sounds like yes. Okay. Moving on to 7, which is the mandates, local, state, and federal relations, periodic review of state and federal mandates. All of this is adding, and this is from Lake Forest, is supporting legislation for the creation of a committee on mandate review and mandates being subject to a sunset provision. The district requested creation of committee on mandate review that would include a representative group to examine all aspects of currently newly proposed in the process for future educational mandates. They would provide a comprehensive view of mandates, costs of all parties, implementation resources required, duplication, recommendations for removal, existing waiver process, kind of et cetera, et cetera. Additionally, legislators and ISB will create an estimated financial note process with greater visibility of all projected costs of all stakeholders for future mandates being considered by legislatures. Lastly, the inclusion of a timing or sunset provision for all mandates so that there is visibility to the current purpose of new mandates and the understanding of future demands and needs that may change, and thereby allowing for understanding if certain mandates should continue or be allowed to naturally expire or transition into a different condition. This is a current priority of these particular districts, and this effort is to expand knowledge of the work being done with EdRed and other parties to include IASB and other state boards to create greater momentum for the cause of reducing mandate burdens and all elements surrounding the process. So the resolutions committee agreed with this and recommends to adopt. That is not detailed here. Yeah. 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 A legislative committee. Yeah. Yeah. So to answer your question, I do not believe IASB would have anything to do with it. Right. Yeah.
Well, but it's more than just the unfunded ones, though. It's like now you have to teach about this, and now you have to teach about this, and add
take away.
Way. They school will be.
Yeah, to me, it makes sense to have more oversight. And also, as Dave was saying, it makes sense to make sure that things actually sunset and end when they're intended to be ended rather than just having, adding to the pile. Or not relevant anymore. Because obviously.
The resolution is to lobby to create it. Your question is to be
Level. I would think that would be part of the legislation. Yeah.
And, you know, alternatives. Having standards, know what kind of standards. Regularly reviewed.
Right, the details. Right, the details of the legislation would be very important to have. Okay, we can revisit that one next week. Maybe we can get additional information from them to see if they have any further detail. The last one is financial contributions for school board elections. It's funny. I mean, they're changing it to school board elections nonpartisanship. The IASB shall continue to support the nonpartisan election of school board members at nonpartisan election. At a nonpartisan election, IASB strongly believes that the school board candidates should not solicit, accept, or receive either a donation or financial contribution from special interest groups, political action committees, or political parties. They recommend to adopt it. The district analysis basically is, I mean, they're just providing that the school boards are nonpartisan and that that's part of their code of conduct regarding purpose and kind of goals and mission. I would think we would all be in support of it. I don't know that there is a prohibition for, like, I don't know if David, if a PAC came up to you and said like, hey, here's $100 grand for you to run for District 76. Like, we're gonna make a big billboard outside.
So what has happened in places that there have been sort of grassroots community political action committees that when this to have contested school board races, you have gathered funds and put together a slate that's slate. So this that advocate
that wouldn't be allowed.
You couldn't have a community 76 group of neighbors who pull together money and verbal support.
That does happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
The idea that
yeah, it defeats the purpose of the school board. I don't think it was really an issue. Like, PACs really didn't exist before on the level that they exist now. So I'm guessing that now, I would assume in the last election, because we saw, because of COVID, we saw so many contested school board elections across the country and across the state. I would think that maybe people are paying closer attention to make sure that The school board is focused, primarily on the mission of educating students and providing a safe environment for students, and that, it's not supposed to be a political arena. So that would be my guess as to why it came up. But fortunately, in our district, we really haven't had those issues. Yeah. Okay. That kind of wraps up our resolutions. We will go back through them at the November meeting just to give official voting. In that packet are a bunch of do not present. Those won't come up, so they're kind of included as an FYI. And then they also provide information on current positions and definitions like at the end of the packet. So again, that is more of like an FYI. Except for they are making changes. I'm sorry. So they will make changes to the position statements and the deletion. There's deletions and amendments in there. And those will come up and they will vote on those as a whole. So we can just kind of go through those. But remember, like, because they vote on them as a whole, if we say no to anything, then we say no to everything. But I think that's probably enough for tonight. All right. It's enough excitement for tonight. Our poor captive audience. Okay. So that kind of concludes board discussion. We had no FOIA requests. We have no notices of communications, correct?
Correct.
We now open the floor to public comments and petitions on non-agenda items. We have lost our captive audience. And so if anyone that's joining us virtually has a comment, please feel free to type that into the chat box. We will happily read that into the meeting. We'll pause for a second to allow you to do that if you wish. Do we even have any attendees? What? Okay. What? Well, thank you for watching.
One dedicated.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it. Okay, it does not look like there's any public comments. Moving on to others. Does anyone have any others this evening?
I just have a few. First of all, I'm sure you all saw the notice that went out a few weeks ago. We have a new doctor in the house. Congratulations to Dr. Peter Cunningham, who successfully defended his dissertation the last week of September. We are proud of you. We celebrate you. We know you've worked hard, so we just want to make it once again officially public. Doctor.
Congratulations.
All support. You did a great job. And then also congratulations to our principals and assistant principals, because it is Illinois Principal Association Principal of the Month recognition is October. So we have been highlighting each one of our principals each Thursday. So we'll finish that off this Thursday as well as next Thursday. So thank you to our principals for their endless dedication and leadership, passion, and heart that you bring to your jobs every day. We truly appreciate you. And on the topic of safety, I know it came up in a lot of the IASB policies and updates, but we've got some good news that I'm going to have Mr. Rogers share about a grant that we have received. Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant Rogers would be a perfect nickname for me right about now. Yeah, so perfect timing to go along with the ISB discussion there that we were awarded a federal grant. We're one of 15 districts or 15 I guess municipalities in Illinois to be awarded it. So it's called the School Violence Prevention Program Grant. And we were awarded $365,250. So the purpose that we applied for was to use to improve our camera systems, which is pretty antiquated. And there are, a lot of improvements that are necessary to improve our complete door security systems. So this is improving every single lock, key, exterior, interior door system that we have. So it's, very old, replacing all of our antiquated doors that we have in the district as well. and also do some secured front entryway improvements. So we're going to do an analysis with our architect. Again, not a ton of money, but obviously the district's got some to contribute towards the cause as well, and just really do an analysis on what our front entryways are and what can be done to improve it. So we'll give a full report once we go through that analysis, but you know, very excited to get that one.
That's great.
And that is all I have.
Okay. We do not have executive session this evening, so can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you, everyone.